Welcome back, horror fans. It's time for another bone-chilling episode of Scaretastic. Today, we've got 5 true tales that'll make your skin crawl and your heart race. Our first story takes us to a quiet suburban neighborhood. Sarah had just moved into her new apartment, excited for a fresh start. But something felt off. She'd wake up in the middle of the night, feeling watched. Objects would move when she wasn't looking. She brushed it off as new house jitters until that fateful night. Sarah jolted awake at 3 a.m. to the sound of heavy breathing. Her blood ran cold as she saw a figure looming in her doorway. But when she flicked on the light, no one was there. The next morning, she found muddy footprints leading from her front door to her bedroom. The police found nothing, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been in her home. She installed cameras, desperate for proof. A week later, Sarah's worst fears were confirmed. The footage showed a man crawling out of her attic in the dead of night, wandering her apartment, and even standing over her as she slept. The cops caught the intruder. Turns out, he'd been living in Sarah's attic since before she moved in. Talk about uninvited houseguests. Our second tale comes from deep in the Appalachian Mountains. John and his buddies were on a camping trip, miles from civilization. On their second night, they heard strange noises echoing through the trees. It sounded almost like singing? Curious, they followed the eerie melody. As they pushed deeper into the woods, the singing got louder. They stumbled into a clearing and froze. There, illuminated by moonlight, was a circle of hooded figures. The campers watched in horror as the group performed some kind of ritual, chanting in a language they didn't recognize. Suddenly, one of the hooded figures turned and pointed directly at them. The chanting stopped. John and his friends ran for their lives, crashing through the underbrush. They didn't stop until they reached their car, peeling out of the campsite with squealing tires. Years later, John still can't explain what he saw that night. But he swears he sometimes hears that haunting melody in his dreams, calling him back to those dark woods. Our third story proves that sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are the ones we invite into our lives. Emma thought she'd found the perfect roommate in Jen. They clicked instantly, becoming fast friends. But slowly, things started to change. Jen became possessive, jealous of Emma's other friends. She'd accidentally read Emma's texts, showed up uninvited to her dates, and once even followed her to work. Emma tried to brush it off, but the situation kept escalating. One night, Emma woke up to find Jen standing over her bed, just watching her sleep. When confronted, Jen flew into a rage, accusing Emma of trying to abandon her. Just like everyone else. That's when Emma noticed the knife in Jen's hand. Emma managed to lock herself in the bathroom and call the police. They arrived to find Jen had trashed the apartment in a frenzy. As they took her away, Jen kept screaming that she and Emma were meant to be together forever. Emma later learned that Jen had a history of stalking and had been in and out of psychiatric facilities. It was a harsh reminder that sometimes, the most dangerous predators are the ones we let into our lives willingly. Our fourth tale takes us to an old hotel in New Orleans. Mark was a night auditor, used to the creaks and groans of the historic building. But one night, things took a sinister turn. It started with phone calls from vacant rooms. Then guests complained about someone knocking on their doors at 3 a.m. Security cameras caught glimpses of a woman in a white dress, but she'd vanished before anyone could investigate. The final straw came when a guest fled his room in terror, babbling about a ghost lady, trying to strangle him in his sleep. Curious, Mark decided to spend the night in that room himself. At first, nothing happened. Then, around 2 a.m., the temperature plummeted. Mark's breath fogged in the suddenly frigid air. He felt a weight on his chest, like someone sitting on him. As he struggled to breathe, he saw her, a woman with sunken eyes and blue-tinged skin, reaching for his throat. Mark doesn't remember how he got out of that room. He quit his job the next day. The hotel's still open, but that room remains mysteriously under renovation to this day. Our final story is a stark reminder that sometimes, the most haunting horrors are the ones we create ourselves. Dr. Simmons was a respected psychologist, known for his groundbreaking work with PTSD patients. His new treatment promised to help people confront and overcome their deepest traumas through guided hallucinations. At first, the results were miraculous. Patients reported feeling freed from their past traumas. But then, things took a dark turn. Patients started experiencing vivid, terrifying hallucinations even when not undergoing treatment. Some claimed to be possessed by demons. Others became violent, attacking loved ones they believed to be monsters. As the body count rose, Dr. Simmons realized he'd opened a door that couldn't be closed. He'd tapped into something primal and terrifying in the human psyche, unleashing horrors beyond imagination. The treatment was shut down, but the damage was done. To this day, former patients report being haunted by nightmarish visions. And Dr. Simmons? He vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a cryptic note. "I'm sorry. They're coming for me now." So, which story gave you the biggest chills? Drop a comment below and let us know. And if you've got a scary story of your own, share it. Who knows, it might end up in our next video. Don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this spine-tingling journey, and hit subscribe for more terrifying tales.